Hello, we are going to talk about the impact that is having COVID-19 on India and also give a business solution or a business proposal in order to respond from some needs that is having this country. But first, we are going to give you a context about the economical and social situation that is having India. In 1991, national economy of India became a market economy with an emphasis of foreign trade and investment. That is a principal sector of the Indian economy. The gross domestic product per capita in the fourth quarter of the previous year was 487 euros, which is equivalent to 39,945 Indian rupees. This is a clear example of the poor quality of life and inequity that exists in India. India has had an annual GDP growth rate of about 5.8%, making it one of the fastest growing economies in the world. In addition, India has the largest labor force in the world with just over 516 people. In terms of output, the agricultural sector accounts for 28% of GDP. The service sector and industry sector account for 54% and 18%. The main industries are textile, chemical, cement, mining, oil, machinery, and software trade. According to the World Bank, the unemployment rate in India is of 2.6%. But even before the outbreak of the pandemic situation, India is suffering an economical slowdown. In the government of Narendra Modi, First Minister of India, they couldn't generate the promised jobs, and also there are rumors that they are hiding the real unemployment rate.
The official figures show that 4,778 are infected, of which 136 have died and 375 have recuperated.
Actually, since 24 March, India has taken the confinement action for 21 days. Something important is that there are more than 1.3 billion people, which a large number were unemployed, largely immigrants that decide to return to their native towns, because the place that where they were working in this moment is closed. People who don't respect the confinement are going to have a penalty that is like physical aggression or physical exercise, and only can out people who have grocery stores, pharmacies, and basic service will be remain open.
In view of this situation, the Indian government restricted all forms of transport because of the massive congestion at transport terminals in the city of New Delhi. The restriction generated that the population will travel more than 800 kilometers on foot, aggravating the situation as the migrants are afraid of dying of hunger on the way. Even some people are already having physical ailments due to the long journeys. Even several have died from exhaustion.
India is more than 1% of the world trade, where exports include petroleum derivatives, textiles, minerals, and software. On the other hand, the main imports are the machinery, fertilizer, raw oil, and other chemical products. Also, India is the 12th country with the largest economy in the world and the fourth in terms of purchasing power. This is because the GDP is of $1,237 billion.
We have to know that in terms of trade, China is the world's largest exporter in the world and the second largest importer in the world. So it's really gonna have a really big impact in the consumption of goods and services around all the world. In this part of the video, we can also ignore that most of the Indian companies are located in the eastern part of China, and China, about 72% of the companies in India are located in cities like Shanghai and Beijing. Right now, I'm gonna tell you four of the most important Indian industries at this moment and how those industries have been affected around all the topic about COVID-19. So the first of all of them is auto industry. The impact in the auto industry will vary and it depends in the extension of the business that you have with China. In this moment, China business no debut is affected, but however, current levels of inventory seems to be sufficient to the Indian industry. The second industry that was affected was the IT industry. The IT industry was affected because in New Year holidays in China has been extended by the COVID-19 and it adversely impacted in the revenue and growth of Indian IT companies. The third one topic is the tourism. Okay, we have to know that in this holy weekend, all the people that was traveling to another place, and in this case that we are called India, the people was not traveling because from the extension and the outbreak of the COVID-19, the impact in the tourism sector was a very significant loss in the economic system. And the fourth one is the agriculture. In the agriculture, we have to know that India is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of spices and spice products. So in that case, a lot of companies can export their products to India. And at the same time, the agriculture was the primary resource to livelihood about 58% of the Indian population.
I'm going to show you some of the most affected sectors in the Indian economy due to the COVID-19 outbreak and how this pandemic has influenced in the decrease in those economic sectors. First of all, we have the chemical sector that has presented a decrease of 1.3% and worldwide has presented a decrease of 0.8%. Secondly, the textile sector has been affected by this outbreak for approximately 56.6 million euros, which also affect the manufacturing sector, and export losses can be represented by $6,000 million. In third place, we have the mineral sector. Since 1975, the export percentages were 12.3%, and throughout the years, there has been a decrease, which in 2018, the export percentages were only for 3.3%. And by this outbreak, they expected that in the Indian economy, in the mineral sector, there will be the less growth for approximately 1.5% due to this pandemic. In fourth place, we have the health sector, which there is a kind of crisis due to this pandemic because the shortage of necessary inputs in order to affront this pandemic, and government decided to invest a budget of approximately $20,000 million to attend the situation.
Today I'm going to talk about our business proposal for India. Okay, initially we considered that this is the time when international cooperation is most needed. Moreover, given that foreign trade is a key factor in India's economy, every effort must be made to ensure that trade flows as freely as is permissible, especially to avoid food shortages. In the same way, it is also essential to protect food producers and food workers in order to minimize the spread of the illness within this sector and to keep a food supply chain in excellent condition. On the other hand, the India government must ensure that it provides clear information about measures on trade, levels of production, consumption prices, and food stocks. Such information must be able to all citizens in real time to reduce uncertainty and make it possible for producers, consumers, and traders to make informed decisions. Above all, this proposal helps to contain panic in purchases and hoarding of food and other essentials. Finally, we consider that the companies should create a plan for proper management in operations in this crisis, in which they should include 1. Identify their main vulnerabilities. 2. Understand how prepared the company is, creating plans of business continuity and crisis management. 3. Ensure that the company's plans work by incorporating response and recovery mechanisms. 4. Keep work teams informed and assign clear responsibilities for internal and external communications.